All right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Bam! Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for all those of you who have decided to join us here on our broadcast. We are broadcasting on multiple platforms. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we are on Twitch. That's right, we're even on Twitch, and we, of course, are broadcasting you on the Roku station. You have to go into Tiki Live and put in the search engine Phoenix Entertainment Group, and you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. For those of you who are newbies to the show, I want to ask you to please follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. You can follow me personally at Minister J Sim. Now, before we get confused, that's Minister, the letter J, Simm, and you can follow us on social media. The other cool thing is we are a show that wants to be where you are and tell your story. So if you have a great story, especially something inspirational tied to the world of sports, you can see right there for those that are watching, there's the email address. I'll read it to you for those who are listening. Simmons at realtalksports.net. That's JSIMMONS at realtalksports with an S.net. Or you can just give me a call or text me 678-410-9833, and we would love to have you be a part of the Real Talk Sports Show. Well, this week we have lots of stuff happening in the world of sports, as it always is, every single weekend. And these are some of our topics that we'll be talking about tonight. We're going to kick it off with NASCAR. That's right, NASCAR is back. We're going to talk to one of our favorites, Mr. Tyler Hedge from Atlanta Motor Speedway. He's going to tell you what's going on down there at the Speedway, just minutes south of downtown Atlanta. Also, we're going to unfortunately deal with the Hawks still struggling. March Madness, who do you have? Bracketology coming up. We're going to have a bracket on ESPN, and we'll get you some information on that. Hopefully, you will join us. And of course, we got to talk NFL free agency. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, well, almost. Falcons making lots of moves. How are they doing so far? We want to ask you guys to join in and tell us what you think. And of course, we're going to bring in our Falcons expert, D. Orlando Ledbetter, to join us and talk about the Falcons and what they've done so far in free agency, because the Falcons have been busy, busy boys. Well, when we do this show, we always bring on one of the most beautiful women in the world of sports talk radio or TV. We simply know her as the Queen. Miss Tree Dolman is back in the building. Welcome back, Tree.
Hi, Jonathan. Hi, everybody.
Hey, 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 hey. Happy, 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 happy. I want to get a close up here on the Queen. Oh, where's Stevie Wonder? Isn't she lovely?
Aww.
Where's Stevie when you need him? Oh, I knocked her out of the screen. See, I got so excited. I kind of knocked her out of the screen. There she is. Okay, fantastic. Well, Tree, good to have you back as always. And yeah, just what a weekend of sports. I mean, we got free agency, we got March Madness upon us. The playing games are going on right now as we speak. I mean, the women, we forget about that. The women have March Madness of their own. So yeah, just incredible stuff going on.
Yes, I'm so excited about March Madness. I get excited every year around this time, and I really get excited when my teams are playing and going dancing. So I'm so happy because I have teams that are dancing. So I'm looking forward to it.
Teams that you are actually attached to. So I think on the women's side and on the men's side. So yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, it's must see TV every year. Come on, we already know what time it is. Well, speaking of
It
must see
is.
TV, If you guys want to see must-see TV at like speeds that blow your mind, 200 miles an hour or more, well, you need to come right down the road to Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I got the man himself, Tyler Head from Atlanta Motor Speedway, is in the green room. I see him, and we're going to bring him up to the show. There he is. Tyler, welcome back, man.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm definitely looking forward to the racing this weekend because unfortunately the school that I root for is not dancing, so I
Oh,
get to
which school
focus
is
all on
that?
racing.
Well, at
Which
the end of the
school
day,
is
at least
that?
there's some solace there.
Oh, it's Syracuse, so
What
we've
school,
got
Tyler?
legendary
Oh,
coach retiring and everything. Yeah, so
yeah, I was so sad to hear about that. Syracuse, but one thing I can say about Syracuse, excellent program. So not dancing this year, but I can guarantee next year you guys will be.
yeah, hopefully they'll bounce back. But in the meantime, that just frees me up to focus on this weekend for sure.
Yeah.
And what a weekend it is. You guys, first of two stints at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So one question I have is I heard, of course, it's public news, that there's a legend that's returned to the Speedway. A guy is now back. He's one of the greatest champions of all time. Tell us a little bit about the return of Mr. Jimmie Johnson and what that means to you guys in this big race.
Yeah, Jimmie Johnson's presence is being felt in the garage. He's doing some races on and off here, but more importantly, he's teamed up with the team that Richard Petty has been involved with for so many years to make Legacy Motor Club. So the 43 car and the 42 car that you see racing from week to week, Jimmie Johnson is now an owner on that team that fields the cars for Eric Jones and Ty Dillon, and obviously he's imparting a lot of knowledge on them. We won't see him racing with us this weekend at Atlanta, but he did run the Daytona 500, and he'll be running at COTA the weekend following us. So he's getting behind the wheel a little bit, trying to show these kids how it's done, but more importantly, really bringing his knowledge to a team that has a bit of a rising trajectory within the sport for sure.
Yeah, Jimmy is a bad man, no question. A legendary driver, and certainly his impact is going to be felt in the pits. And just kind of having a guy like that around, it's got to be great for you guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Jimmie Johnson's one of those names that if you don't know much about NASCAR, you've probably heard of Jimmie Johnson just because of everything that he's accomplished. And so having him back from his stint doing open wheel racing the last couple of years back within the sphere of NASCAR is good for everybody involved. But on the topic of legends, that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to this weekend so much, because we're celebrating the 75th anniversary of NASCAR this year, as everybody is within the sport. And we've got some really legendary people who are going to be here this weekend. In particular, on Sunday, we have this great experience lined up for the fan zone for anybody that's coming through. The 1992 finale at Atlanta, if you're not familiar, is widely considered one of the, if not the greatest races in NASCAR history, just because of all the things that happened, all the storylines that converged on one day. You had Richard Petty making his very last start. You had Jeff Gordon making his very first start in the Cup Series. You had Bill Elliott winning the race while in a very tight points battle with the late Alan Kulwicki for the championship that year, which Kulwicki won, even though Elliott won the race. Well, we have Richard Petty, Jeff Gordon, and Bill Elliott all coming together on our stage in the fan zone to share their stories from that day and really, their perspectives, what that day looked like through their eyes. So, and even cooler than that, Richard Petty not only is going to be there, but he's going to pose up with his car that he drove that day, which has battle scars, I'll add, because he got caught up in a wreck in his last race. So the front end's all torn off the thing. It's all beaten up on the sides, but it is a rolling piece of history for sure. So legends to see and legendary vehicles to see all before they even drop the green flag on the main event.
Man, Tree, how about that? That sounds just incredible, doesn't it?
That is incredible. And how wonderful it is that you all are celebrating 75 years. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah, this sport has a really rich history, and Atlanta Motor Speedway has been a major part of the grand majority of that. NASCAR founded in 1948, and Atlanta Motor Speedway has been hosting NASCAR races since 1960. So a lot of legendary moments like that 1992 race have happened right here in the ATL. And so we're really looking forward to celebrating a lot of that this weekend. And I know that we'll be having a little bit more in the summer race too, but for sure we're kicking off things in a big way.
You are.
I mean, that's just incredible. And I'm going to try to see if I can drag in another gentleman. I'll drag it in because he might be coming already. For those people who don't know, I'm actually an employee from Allen Vigil Ford in Lincoln. They're located right down the road from the Speedway. Well, not down the road, about 20 minutes or so. And he also has some ties with NASCAR and with Bill Elliott. Back in the day when Bill was still racing, Mr. Vigil and Bill would fly around from time to time. And also, every now and then, the Allen Vigil Service Department would assist with guys doing some engine rebuilds. So hopefully we can get Mr. Vigil out and let him kind of be part of the festivities as well, at least to kind of be near the track. He hasn't been out there in a while. So, yeah, man, it's just I'm just amazed that all this is really right in our backyard, right in Clayton County, or actually, I guess on the border of Clayton and Henry County.
Yeah, right here on the south side of Atlanta. And, you obviously talk about the ties that are down here. There's a lot of racing ties that run through Atlanta. Charlotte obviously now is the hub of the sport, but there was a point, especially in the dawning days of NASCAR, that the garages were in Atlanta, and a lot of the pioneers of this sport called Atlanta their home base. I mean, the Flock brothers were some of the earliest champions of the sport, and they called Atlanta home. Obviously, the Elliott family is basically royalty within the sport, but there's a lot spattered in between all those names too. So it's a very rich history here, and one that we're fortunately writing a lot more of every year, especially with the exciting racing that we have on the track.
Now, speaking of that, you also, we talked about this a little bit last year. I mean, it's more than just the race. I mean, don't you guys have like a whole weekend of events that you do?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we at the track really task ourselves with the idea that, okay, NASCAR is going to take care of what's happening on the track, and we have a fantastic, entertaining product on the track. But when there's not something on the track, we want to make sure that people are having a good time. So I kind of try to shorten my spiel and not, ramble on with it, but there's just so much that you could say.
Okay.
But I'll boil it down to the fan zone is open on both days. It's free to go into the fan zone. That 1992 look back that I was talking about, that's going to be in the fan zone. We got a bunch of live acts that are going to be out there. Some things that fans can get involved with, like axe throwing, stuff like that. We got these canine acrobatics that are going to be out there that people have been loving. So that's both days. Saturday night after the doubleheader races, we have the Peach Pit party in the infield. Again, if you have a race ticket or if you're staying at the track, you're invited to come into that for no additional charge. Live music from AC/DC tribute band Back in Black in there. We'll even have a driver stopping by for a Q&A. There's Mechanical Bulls, which there's a lot of stuff from race weekend I say I'm down to try. Mechanical Bulls are not one of them, but I know there's people that do want to do that. 0.8 of a second is what I think I would last on the Mechanical Bull. But there's a laser light show, and we cap off the night with fireworks. And the night before, on Friday night, we really kick things off with a camper appreciation party. So people who are staying with us at the track, some of the most diehard fans that you'll find in any sport, we like to get out there. We give them some free food. We got some green beer because it's St. Patrick's Day on Friday. We have that tournament that you were talking about on the TVs that we have in our bootlegger bar. And we got a couple drivers coming to hang out with folks too. So all throughout the weekend, lots of cars on track and lots to enjoy with that. But for sure, when there's not anything happening on the track, we've got a lot happening at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
No doubt, man. It's always, like I said earlier, about must-see TV. So if you guys are in the area, even if you're not in the area, make the trek down. It's going on all weekend. And there's one other thing I think you guys do. Do you guys have an opportunity for, it's a part of a fundraiser, if you'd actually like drive your car on the track? Did I see that somewhere?
Yes. So that is going to be Thursday night, Speedway Children's Charities Atlanta. So their mission is they're raising money to help children's organizations within the Atlanta area and the state of Georgia overall, helping kids in need. So race weekend ends up being a very big opportunity for them to further that mission. And that really kicks off on Thursday night with our Laps for Charity. And it's just what you said. If you've ever wanted to drive on 28 degrees of banking and you've never done it before, this is an awesome opportunity to do it. You get to roll out in your own car. You can load up as many people as you want in your car and take a few laps around the speedway behind the Atlanta Motor Speedway pace car. And, do a good bit of speed while you're doing it too. But the big thing is feeling that 28-degree banking, it's unlike anything else that you felt behind the wheel.
And you have to maintain speed because if I'm not mistaken, the gravity starts to pull you down if you go too slow.
Oh, for sure. And if you got a more modern vehicle, all the traction control and stuff like that starts yelling at you. It's very unhappy if you slow down because it's trying to drag it down the track. So now, I will say, if you feel a little bit concerned about that, you can always make your way off the banking. But I totally encourage people to stay on the banking because that's really the experience.
That
You see
is
that big grin
truly
on Tree's face,
phenomenal.
Tree,
Oh, sorry. What did you say?
I saw the big grin on your face. You look like, can I have a car to drive?
Well, no, I don't have a car that I would drive on the track, but I love that you all have that opportunity for people to drive their own cars around the track. And the best part about it is that they're doing it for charity. So I love that. I just think that it's really huge. I think you'll get a lot of people out there, and what a great way to raise money for charity and also have people have a life-changing experience that otherwise they may not ever experience.
Oh, for sure, and it's totally a fan favorite. We'll do these throughout the year, even when it's not race weekend, from time to time to raise some funds. Obviously, the race weekends when we've got people in town already are a huge opportunity, and we get a lot of participation. But every time we do it, we have several people that make their way out, go out the first time, and they loop right back around into the line, and they go, "I'm going again." So
I can't believe it.
it's always fun to watch and see the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Well, I would try to join in, but I will admit that I went over 100 miles an hour a couple of times when I was much younger than I am now. And I said, no, I don't think speed racing is for me. Look good for somebody else to drive it. But listen, how can people find out more about what's going on, website and social media where people can follow you, obviously?
Yeah, the easiest thing is just to go to atlantamotorspeedway.com. If you're interested in coming out to the race, we've got a bunch of price points that will work for you, most likely. Here's the best part. If you got family or some kids that you'd like to bring with you, 12 and under, they are free on Saturday for our doubleheader, and they are just $10 on Sunday, no matter where you choose to sit. So really easy to bring out the family if you want to come out to the races. You can always give a phone call to 8779 AMS TIX if you prefer to do that rather than go online. And you can always follow us on our social media channels. You're just looking for ATL Motor Speedway.
Can't do any better than that. Tyler, listen, man, we appreciate you and we look forward to seeing you very soon at the track.
Yeah.
I thank you, Jonathan. Can't wait to see you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, our man Tyler, great stuff. I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I mean,
I'm
that
excited.
just sounds like a great time.
Well, see, one of these days, Tree, I know you're way up north, but we got to have you come on down and check it out, because I mean, it is a lot of fun. And it's really, it lasts the whole weekend. They have truck races. They have obviously some of the stuff they talked about, and it's just really, it's almost like one big giant party. To be very candid. I mean, stuff's going on all the time. All right, guys. Again, you're watching the Real Talk Sports Show. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more of the show and more good sports talk in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. Please keep it locked right here for more.
Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions, or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
We're back. You're listening to and watching the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Mr. Jonathan Simmons, and right next to me is the lovely Miss Tree Dolman. It's NASCAR. I always wait for this. They do it twice a year in the springtime. It's going to be a little chilly this weekend, but they do it also again in July. It was nice and warm and toasty, almost sometimes too warm, but we look forward to being out there in March with all this anniversary stuff. Meanwhile, back down the road here in Atlanta, a team that goes Hawks, at least one of them, the Atlanta Hawks. Tree, I got lost for words. I don't know what to say anymore. A really almost borderline embarrassing loss at home to the Timberwolves that had their same record 500 get knocked off 136 to 115. And really, it seemed like the only guy that really showed up was Trae Young. Had an epic 41-point game, shot 60% from the floor, did not miss a single free throw. And that pretty much was the end of the story. Rest of the Hawks, I don't know whether they're on vacation, but yeah. What on
Well,
earth
I
is
can't
going on with our
say that.
Huh?
I can't say
What?
that.
Well, they were terrible.
They were
I
not
mean, they really were. They were
terrible.
absolutely terrible.
I mean, the defense was terrible. And yes, they had some moments where it was just like, okay. But I wouldn't say just horrible. I mean, I mean, there were some times that it looked pretty awful. I agree. I agree.
See, this
But
is a woman of great
I think
elegance.
DeAndre Hunter, I think he always plays hard and gives his all. So I can't say nobody else showed up. And DeJounte, he also, so I mean, I can't say nobody showed up but Trae, but I see what you're saying a little.
Yeah, so Todd immediately chimed in and said, Preacher and Tree, Nate was not in the house.
Nate was not the issue.
And
Well,
he said, Tree, it was horrible.
yeah, it was horrible. You think it was horrible, Todd? I mean, I was trying to be nice.
Yeah,
I mean, there were moments. There were moments. I agree, but yeah, I don't think the whole game was horrible.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess the biggest problem is that, they continue to struggle mightily defensively. I mean, Tree, because you play in the paint, you love defense. I mean, if you were coaching, what would you be saying to your team after giving up again 70 points in the half, 40 points in the first quarter at home?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I was coaching, the first thing that I would do, I would have my practices ran differently. So I'm a very tough coach. That's what everybody tells me. So I agree. I even know I'm tough, but you practice how you play, or you play how you practice. And I think that the Hawks, they're not a defense-minded team, and they have to change that mindset. It's not all about offense. When you play great defense, it turns into points and it leads to great offense. But I think they have to shift their mindset in being a defensive-minded team. And once that happens, I think you'll see where the offense will then improve as well. But you can't do anything without great defense. I don't care if you score, they're just going to score and they're going to get steals. Yes, we get steals as well, but you have to stop people. That bothers me when I see easy points in the paint. There is nothing that bothers me more than that. Protect your house. Do not let people easily come in your house and score. If they come in the paint, a foul, don't make it easy. Make them think the next time. Where it's like, ooh, I want to stay out of that paint. Let me pull back and shoot this jump shot instead of driving into the lane. And don't get me wrong. I know it's the NBA. I know there's going to be some points that are driven in the lane. That just happens. But it should not be easy. And you shouldn't just have people standing and looking and not making a move to stop somebody from scoring in the paint.
Yeah, actually, Todd said the Titanic was better than what we saw with the Hawks. Yeah. So I mean, basically, this team, right? Am I right? I mean, he's kind of pouring on kind of thick, but at the end of the day, what we're struggling with again is the idea that this team seems to. What it reminded me of when I was watching, I thought about the title to that movie, Dazed and Confused, because several times on defense, that's kind of what they look like. They look like they didn't know quite what to do, and which constantly leaves men open. And in the NBA, these guys are the best of the best. If you're open, you're gonna hit those shots. Plain and simple. So
yeah, they definitely had an off night. They definitely had an off night. But I guess the reason that I don't feel that it was just all the way horrible or tragic as most think, I think I'm probably the only person that doesn't think that, it's just because I'm looking at the previous games that they did play where they were playing great defense, where they were killing the boards and getting all types of rebounds and turning them into points on defense and on offense. And so I know that they have the capability, and I just know that the last game, it just really seemed like an off night. And as an athlete, especially when you're playing so many games in the season, you're going to have some nights that are off. That's just a part of sports. You just don't want it to be often. And so I'm hoping that they can shake this last game off and then come back and start playing great defense. I love that the coach is focusing with them on defense and getting them into that mindset. You can see a difference in their defense with the new coach, but it has to improve, and it has to be something that you see every single game. You can't choose when you're going to play great defense and then take nights off. Like, it has to be every single game where you know you're going to hold them, and you need to set a goal to hold them to a certain amount of points. I think that's the best way.
Yeah, because right now, I think you're on the head, because right now you have a situation where this team it's almost epic how badly they're playing defensively. And the last 10 games, I think they've had half a dozen games where teams have scored in excess of 130 points, and 3 of those games where teams have scored in excess of 135 points. And I don't care, what you're trying to do offensively. You can't be in a situation where you're giving up, 130, 140 points a game. What you're basically talking is you got a team having 70-point halves.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like an all-star game score almost. I mean, it's just, they got to find a way. The other thing too is, right. The other thing is that the shooting, especially from 3-point range, is just abysmal. I mean, last night they shot 18% from three.
Yeah, it was horrible. And they were all taking their shot 3. And the thing that really shocked me is that Bey, he wasn't even normally they pass the ball to Saddiq Bey and he'll hit the 3-pointer. John Collins will make some 3-pointers, and yeah, it just the 3-pointers were just not falling, and it just seemed like they just kept shooting them and kept shooting, which again, that's what you're supposed to do. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, and when your shot isn't falling, you do want to keep shooting, because you'll eventually get one in, and once you see one go in, then you'll start making them. But yeah, the threes were, it was pretty bad from the.
Well, see, I'll be honest with you. When you make 4 of 18, you're almost at what you just said. You don't make 100% of the shots. They almost missed 100% of their shots last night. Yes, I guess the biggest thing for me is not so much not shooting, but I think that when the outside shot is not falling, especially from guys like Jalen Johnson, and even to some degree John Collins, guys that have the ability to play over the rim, I want to kind of see them attack more. Now, of course, you got one of the ultimate rim stoppers in the NBA. Rudy Gobert was down in the paint, so he was giving them all kind of trouble. But I'm thinking, anytime that guy's out, I'm coming right to the paint. I'm just saying.
Well, you saw where John Collins did try to dunk on him, and he almost did. He just missed the rim a little. But yeah, I mean, Rudy is down there, and he's won Defensive Man of the Year 3 times for a reason. He has great defense. He blocks a lot of shots, but nobody is scared to go up against him. But he does protect the paint, and that could be part of the reason that you saw so many 3-pointers where they weren't even looking to post up or move the ball in. I like it. You like it when they're passing the ball around, where they don't just dribble up and take a 3-pointer. Right. Sometimes that's good, right? Sometimes I can see that happening. But majority of the time, the Hawks play best when they move the ball. They get everybody into touching the ball, touches, and then the shot opens up.
And I don't care how much you believe in your teammates, at times you do lose confidence. And I think there were a couple of times last night where Trey said, I'm going to have to score because my teammates are not hitting me. Because there were several times, and I got to tell you something. I had to take a pause, because the tendency is to blame the star player. And certainly, Trey's got some blame for, some of the ways he's, kind of handled the offense. But last night wasn't one of them. I had to really kind of sit down and take a woosah moment and say, hold up, man, let's look at the real facts of this game. Number one, in a game that was a blowout most of the time, he was a -4. Now you say, dude, he was a minus. Well, he's a -4, and there were times where the Hawks were down by 28. If you look at DeJounte Murray and most of the other guys, they were -27, -18. So he was only a -4. And there were several times on those missed 3-pointers where Trey hit them and they were open and they missed shots. There were times we hit them on interior shots and they missed. So I think it got to a point where we said, look, I gotta do something to try to keep us in this game. And I think that there were times where maybe they could have moved it around a little bit more, but the team just wasn't responding. So I don't know what they're going to have to do. I don't know who they're going to have to add. I do know one thing: they're going to have to find some outside shooters, because right now Bogey is terribly inconsistent. Kevin Huerter is playing for Sacramento. Sadiq Bey looks like he can be a help, and John Collins and both Trey have not been at the levels they were in previous years shooting at three-pointers. So I don't know what they're going to have to add, but definitely they're going to have to find a way to get some outside shooting.
Well,
Just saying.
I mean, we have outside shooters. We just need them to be more consistent. So Bogey,
And make
we
them
know
shots.
he'll show up and he'll give us 3-pointers and he'll shoot the lights out. John Collins is also a really good 3-point shooter that has improved his game. I won't say that we don't have shooters. I think we do have shooters. We have DeJounte, we have Trey. We just need everybody just to flow and to sync. That's what it is. I think it's just all with the team chemistry. They just had an off night, but when they're on, they're on. So I don't think that it's the players that's the problem. I actually think we have a really good roster. We have a roster where we can go really far with our roster. And I think adding Sadiq Bey really did help with that. The young players come out, they play hard. I really can't say anything about the roster.
Well, the one thing is that, like I said again, they're going to have to find a way to definitely be more consistent in their shooting. And the other thing they have to be more consistent in is their energy. Because that's the other thing that the coach talked about, is that when this team plays with a sense of urgency, with that energy, it manifests itself all around the court. They play better defensively. They get more open looks, easy shots. Because you talked about that earlier. Defense creates turnovers. Turnovers create easy buckets. And I just think that at times this team, I don't know what it is. I mean, it could be because you got a new coach, and I saw last night the coach, I think, played for the first time. I think he played like 11 players. And so you're trying to get your rotation down. Maybe that's some of it. You're not quite comfortable with different guys, but I don't know. I guess maybe I kind of thought that we catch lightning in the bottle again, like we did with Nate, and this team would make a run into the playoffs. But I think that this team is, unless something happens in the next 4 or 5 games, I think we're going to have to kind of look to the Hawks for next year, unfortunately.
I think you're too quick to give up. That's
I'm throwing the towel. I mean, I shouldn't say throwing the towel, but I guess really what it is that the frustrated fan in me is coming out, because I guess I watch them
what it is.
night after night. That's what it is. Yeah, I think
That's what it is.
Because
you're frustrated.
I see them, and right, because I get the same. You get when you go into press conference. That's why I really don't show the clips, because it's always the same thing. Okay, we need better spacing. We need to move the ball around. We have to play more energy. I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, if we know all that, I mean, why are we not seeing that on the court, except in tiny snippets? And when we see that,
it's said than done. I would like to say that. And like I say, a lot of people need to understand that your bodies are not, like, when you're at the end of the season, they're not 100%. So even though they're out there playing, they have different issues that they have with their bodies. I mean, there's a lot that's going on. So people have to give these players grace. They're human beings, and they have issues that go on, and we're towards the end of the season, and they are going out there playing hard. And that's why I always stand up for them when I see, because when I'm watching the games, it's not like they're just slacking. They're not slacking. Yes, some teams are just better. You're not going to win every game, but they know what's at stake. And believe me, they want to win more than the fans want them to win, because it helps their checks. So when they win, they get more money. So it's not like they're just going out there like, oh, whatever, it's just another game. No, they all know what is at stake, and they all have goals to win and to go to the playoffs. They want to do that, right? So if it's not happening, it's not because of lack of effort on their part, where they're just going out there like, oh, well, yeah, it's just another game. I really just don't see that. And me being an athlete as well, that's just not how you play. You don't do that. You're playing for more than that.
I would think that the pride issue would come in. That's kind of what you're thinking, that, hey, man, and especially defending your house. I mean, you talked about that earlier, the idea that, hey, man, I can't let people come in here and, bully me around. This is my house. There's rules of engagement. It's like when you come to visit someone's house, there's certain places you can sit, certain places you can't sit. Certain things you can say, certain things you can't say. Because if you don't like it, you can get out of my house. And this year we've not seen that as much, and it reflects in the record. I think they're 18 and 15. In years past they were well into the 20 win bracket. So I guess that's all. Part of it, frustrated fan. You want, when you go to a game, especially a home game, you want to see the intensity. And I'm not trying to say the guys are slackers, but the level of intensity is not what it needs to be a team that's going to win consistently. That's why I think you get good nights, bad nights, up and down. That's why we're about 500 team. And I think that they need to get that energy to a level of consistency in order for them to win the type of games and win the number of games that they're going to need to advance in the playoffs. But right now, they look like they're going to do what they did last year. Squeak in, in the play-in game, and then get swept by a Miami or Boston team. That's kind of what it looks like right now. And
ye of little
that ain't
faith.
a happy thing to look forward to. Now, listen, I'm hoping they turn it around, and and I know, we've seen it before. We saw it right here in Atlanta in another sport with the Atlanta Braves. The Braves were under 500. We're
worrying, and what did I say? I'm not worried.
Right. And not only did they come back, but they had the best record in the major leagues in the second half, and of course went on to win the World Series title. So we don't have quite those many games. I think we're down to about 16 or 17 games now. But if the Hawks could go on a even, like 10-6 run or 11-5, they could make some noise in the playoffs, because they would be one of the hottest teams going in there. So are we hoping for that? Of course I am. I'm not trying to say, oh man, they just think they're terrible. I don't want to see them do well. I want to see them do great. But the clock ticking. And they got tough games ahead. Matter of fact, a big game on Friday night against another team that has been a weird team, the Golden State Warriors. Unbeatable at home. Yep. Unbeatable at home, terrible on the road. So again, they have a chance to win another
but the
home
Golden
game.
State Warriors, they're starting to gel. So even though they've had a horrible start to the season, and we all know it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I really think that the Golden State Warriors are going to shock a lot of people. Not me, because I'm still rooting for them, but I think a lot of people should not count them out.
Oh, I can assure you nobody's counting them out. Anytime you got, the defending champion, you got Steph Curry, a first round, first ballot Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. Yeah, what was that thing that the coach from Houston said back in the day? Never cut out the heart of the champion, and that's the truth. So we look for them to make some noise. But again, hopefully, the Hawks normally play against good teams very well. They played against Boston fairly well in spots, and they had a shot even to come back in that game. I think they should have their A game on, because they'll have not one, not two, but 3 days rest, because they're not playing again until Friday night. So hopefully we'll see that on the court of play. Speaking of see that, you guys need to see what our sponsors have to say right now. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Please don't go anywhere. Thank you very much, and thank you. Stay tuned.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
And we're back here. You're watching and listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and right next to me is the lovely Miss Tree Dolman. Well, the NBA is fine, but right now, if you like basketball, all eyes are on college basketball because it is that time. March Madness is here. And so the big question I got for everybody is, who you got? Who you got? Have you guys got your brackets filled out? If you don't, go to ESPN, where they have the little thing where it says search for brackets. You can be a part of our crew, Real Talk Sports, and number 7. You'll see what I did was, I don't say I cheated, but I kind of did the lazy way. I pressed a little button that says, do you want us to choose a bracket for you? I said, yeah. So I pressed the ESPN automatic fill in your bracket, and it shows Houston winning the national title, which I think Phi Slamma Jam is, Phi Slamma Jam. Listen, Houston, if they won, I think you see all the guys from Phi Slamma Jamma, Clyde Drexler, all those guys, even Akeem, they would all come out because, as you know, or maybe people don't know, they had a legendary run in the mid '80s where that team went to the Final Four, I believe, 3 times in 4 years, and lost an epic, just unbelievable shocker to a underdog North Carolina State when they were a dominant team and looked like they should have won it all. And they have never won the national title. So the Houston Cougar fans I know are just salivating, saying, please, let's be our time. So Houston is one of the teams I picked.
I do not see them winning it all, but we'll see.
All right. Well, who you got? Who you got, Miss Trey?
I don't know.
Got a little excited. All right. So what do you got? What are a couple of teams you like?
I don't know. I have to do my brackets first, but I just don't think. I know Houston is the number 1 overall seed. I just don't think that they're going to win the tournament. I think they will get knocked out. I think it'll be maybe in the Final 4 or the Elite 8, but I don't see them winning the whole thing.
Well, I will say this. I am going to also do another bracket because for those of you who are going in there, we give you up to 4 shots at this thing. You put in 4 brackets. Now, you say that's cheating. No, it's not. You got 4 brackets, and you can't cross-mingle them. So if you got one, we say I got some of the teams here, some of the teams there, it does not count. You have to have a complete bracket that's got no errors, all wins. But you got 4 chances to do it. So it's Real Talk Sports at number 7. That's what we put in. We're just like, we're on social media, going to ESPN, and they have the bracketology, and you'll find it right there. And we'd love to have you part of our bracketology. And we are going to be going for the women.
You said what?
Say again?
Oh, what were you saying?
No, I lost you. Go ahead. You were saying.
Oh, no, I was just going to say for the women, they have my alma mater, Middle Tennessee, as the number 11 seed, and we are playing in Durham, North Carolina. And I was so hoping it was someplace closer so that I could go to the game this weekend, but won't make the game, but I will be rooting for them. And I am definitely picking them to upset that first round and see who they play next. And I really think that Middle Tennessee will shock a lot of people. We went in ranked number 25 in the nation, and I see us going at least to the Sweet 16, in my opinion.
And you guys were a beast at home this year, weren't you?
We were what?
You guys were a beast at home, weren't you? You guys were pretty tough out.
We went undefeated at home this year and last year. So in the last 2 seasons, we have not lost a home game.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Let's go to social media, see what comments we have here on social media. We got our good buddy here, Fantasy Football GOAT Strategies. Tree, what's he talking about here?
Alabama is the number 1 overall seed. Bama winning it all.
Yep, some people have got Bama picked.
You said Alabama is the number 1 overall seed? Oh, I thought it was Houston. Interesting.
I thought it was Houston too.
Alabama is the number 1 seed. I know they are a number 1 seed, but I didn't know they were number 1 overall. Okay. Yeah, Alabama has. It should be interesting.
Yeah. So Alabama's a team to look for. Like I said, Houston's a team to look for. Now, on one of my brackets, I'm gonna be a homer. On one of the brackets, I'm actually going to fill out the UConn Huskies to take it all, since I'm originally from Connecticut. The Huskies are dark horse candidate for a lot of people. They have a very balanced team. They can beat you inside and outside, from my understanding. So, one of my brackets, one of the four, I'm going to pick UConn to go all the way. I'm going to do the same thing for the women. I'm going to pick them to win it all as well. Just as a homer, I gotta support the home state. I mean,
You do. That
and
bracket
then there is
will lose,
precedent.
but you can support. South Carolina's winning it all. I will be very shocked if on the women's side, South Carolina does not take home the championship. It will be very
Yeah,
surprised.
I mean, there's no doubt. Dawn Staley's got them rolling. And you know what everybody wants to see anyway. Everybody wants to see what they saw back in the day when Tennessee and UConn had the great rivalry. Notre Dame snuck in every now and then, so did Stanford. But everybody wanted to always see Pat Summitt and Gino go head-to-head. And so now everybody wants to see Dawn Staley and Gino go head-to-head. So for TV, there's no question. And for basketball fans, they would like to see that. And the reason why I think UConn's got a good shot is because, from my understanding, UConn the whole year battled with injuries, and everybody appears to be healthy now.
Yeah.
So what better time to be 100% than when you're trying to win the Final Four? Another
That is
team I'd
true.
like to see in the Final Four only because their coach is one of the best dressed women in college coaching. We'd like to see the Texas Longhorns with Coach Sidney coming out there. This woman, just every single game, she has on like some other kind of dazzling outfit. So Coach Sid, I'm rooting for the Longhorns to make it to the Final Four because the optics would be good. I'm just saying. You guys play good basketball, but the
I
style
love it.
counts here. Just saying. Yeah, and you really would. She's I think she's a Coach Sid Longhorns or something like that on social media. But yeah, she really does. Just every outfit is always very stylish. A lot of times she wearing the burnt orange in there to kind of match the Texas, colors. So yeah, just good stuff. And
I
so
like
those are my
it. She sounds like my coaching style too. I always showed up like I was on a runway. So I love that.
no. Yeah, this I'm going to send you the link to her stuff because that is exactly the pocket she works in. Always straight, the heels, makeup, everything done. She's got about 4-inch fingernails that she has painted in various colors. So yeah, very, very stylish. But a good coach. The Longhorns have a good team this year. So,
Yeah.
she does it on the court with strategy and on the court with style. Just saying. Let's go back to our topics here one more time so you guys can know what we've been talking about today. And we've already talked about the Hawks. We talked about NASCAR. March Madness, that big question is who you got. Bracketology. Remember, you can go to ESPN and put in Real Talk Sports number 7. Throw your bracket in there. We'd love to see you be a part of our March Madness. I will be cooking up something, Tree. I'm going to work with some local vendors to try to get a prize that we can give to the winner. Matter of fact, not try. I'm going to do it. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but we can come up with some wonderful gifts for those people that will have a first, second, and third place. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, so we'll come up with some prizes. And speaking of that, if you have a company and you say, hey, man, we'd love the great promotion and publicity, hit me up. Let me go ahead and pop it up here on the screen. Remember, we are at, go to the solo screen for a second here. Hit me up here. Right there. There we go. Is it up there? No, presto. Right there. Jay Simmons at realtalksports.net. If you're a vendor and you'd like to sponsor our bracketology prizes, we'll have a first, second, and third prize. Please send me an email, jsimmons at realtalksports.net, or hit me up on the cell 678-410-9833. We would love to have you sponsor this because we're going to give people some good stuff for being a part of our bracketology. So please join us. We'd love to have you. Love to have you kind of do some stuff. Any other team, Tree, on the women's side that we should kind of look at? I know, like I said, we've been doing so much here on our own show, but any team that you'd like to see or think can be a part of that equation to get to the Elite Eight or the Final Four?
Elite Eight, I think we'll see Michigan. I think we'll also see LSU. But you just never know. That's what I love about March Madness. You have a lot of these teams that you just think and it's just like, yeah, I just know they're going, and then they get knocked out in the first or second round, and then your bracket is just busted. And that's what I love, because every year there's a bracket buster, and it's sure to happen. It's just a matter of who is going to be the team that busts everybody bracket.
Yeah, no doubt. That is what everybody tunes in for. It's interesting because everybody talks about how many views the Super Bowl gets in the United States and certainly worldwide, World Cup. But there's really nothing like March Madness that engages just everybody. The basketball fan, casual fan, never a fan. There's something about the excitement of teams breaking, busting the bracket, or some team that you never heard of before, like Florida Gold Coast, upsetting two or three or four people to get to a Sweet 16. And it's just those kind of stories keep everybody watching March Madness, and hopefully you guys will too. Yeah, I'm saying LSU, another great women's coach over at LSU. Yeah, she does a great job. I can't think of her name right now, but she's been kind of splashed all over social media. More people kind of zooming in on LSU because they have a great team. Even Shaq was at one of their games a few weeks ago. So
Supporting
he is
his
giving us
alma
a nugget.
mater.
That's right. So remember, that was your nuggets. Hope you guys are writing down in your bracket. Tree says Michigan. LSU, of course, her favorite, South Carolina. So you guys keep that in your brackets. We're trying to help you. We're saying this is what the team says. And you'd be surprised at what you will get happening here on March 9th. So again, like I said, again, go to ESPN and look at question number 7. Good to have you as part of that
I
broadcast.
can't hear you all of a sudden.
Uh-oh.
I hear you now. I heard
All right.
Okay, I can hear you.
Are we here now? Okay, perfect. I
Much
always have to
better.
make sure to
Yes, I
speak
can hear you.
loudly into this mic.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're going to take a break one more time, and then we're going to talk NFL. Hopefully, our special guest, D. Orlando Ledbetter, will be able to join us to talk about the Falcons. But Tree, they were like, they were spending that money. But we're going to talk to D. Led to see what that means. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a minute. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Seriously, we will.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
All right, guys, we're back. We're wrapping up here the final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host again, Minister Jonathan Simmons. We are so thankful for those of you who decided to tune in here and join us here on the broadcast. And the Falcons, I mentioned, they've been like in the club. They spending money. It's flying out the door. And when we talk Falcons, we have to bring on the expert. He is the embedded beat writer for AJC Sports for the Falcons. He's also a distinguished and award-winning sports writer and Esquire par excellence. And he wears a mean fedora from time to time. The one and only D. Orlando Ledbetter is back in the building. D. Led, what's going on, man?
Hey, not too much, Reverend. Thanks for having me on. And how you doing, Miss Tree? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Hi, D-Led.
D-Led, man, it's good to have you back. We borrowed him, Tree, because we do a Saturday show now for the radio station as well. So we dragged D-Led in. Like, I hit him up early Saturday morning. Hey, D-Led can come on, and he jumped right in, and we had a great broadcast. But I had to give him back again because D-Led free agency is in full throttle. So what's happening with the Falcons? Tell us about these guys they brought in.
Yeah, well, the latest is Caleb McGarry's coming back. They got him back at their number, $11 million, 3 years, 34. So as far as the new guys, Jesse Bates at safety, an All-Pro, linebacker Caden Ellis, maybe overpaid for him. Defensive tackle Daniel Oyamate should help Grady Jarrett up front. All things the Falcons need. Not real splashy. Got a backup quarterback, Taylor Heineke, and then brought back Chris Lindstrom, McGarry, Keith Smith, and the punter, Bradley Pinion. So not a real sexy Splash Brothers type of free agency, but solid moves by the Atlanta Falcons.
What do you think about that news that D-Led is breaking? That first of all, they're kind of bringing back that tandem that really was pretty good last year, very good. Chris Lindstrom, obviously one of the best, linemen in the league, and McGarry bulked up, looked like Superman, and played a little like Superman from time to time. What do you think about the Falcons, what they've done?
I think that's good. But the question that I have is, do you think that they're going to continue to make some more moves going on? Or what do you see, or what have you heard that they're in the works of bringing in, or who they're in the works of bringing in?
Yeah, they still have some money left. The big one today was Corey Davis getting cut by the Jets. He had over 1,500 yards playing for Arthur Smith, opposite of A.J. Brown in the Titans offense. So they got to get wide receivers. Four of them are free agents, and they're not trying to sign them. It doesn't look like, or they're trying to get them at their price. So he would be one. They still have money left, but it's more for, functional type things. Can you get a left guard in there? Can you get some more linebackers? Can you get an edge rusher like Marcus Davenport in here? They've had holes. They've got a lot of holes, and you can kind of see them now when you look at the depth chart and kind of surmise that, hey, they need some wide receivers. At their price, maybe a running back. The running back market is drying up. Nobody's paying a lot of money for running backs. And cornerback's another spot. So, whatever they don't get here in the next, week or so, or couple weeks, it's phases to free agency. This is the initial phase where the big players go off the board. Then you try to find the mid-range players that are going to, maybe be able to help you. And then you're going to fill out your roster. So, they got a bunch of guys on their team from last year that are in that third phase that they can go get whenever they need them. Now that they made their splash plays on their big guys, they kind of look at the middle of the pack and see what's there. And if you don't fill it all here in free agency, got the draft in April.
I do have a question. So I saw that the Baltimore Ravens they let go of Calais Campbell, and he's a good, well-respected player, does his thing on defense. Do you think that there's a chance that the Falcons could go after him, or no? And if not, what team do you think would probably be a good fit for him, or do you think you can see him going to?
Yeah, I can see Calais, a veteran of his stature and his pass rush ability, kind of, waiting it out and trying to go to a contender or, a team that is, a playoff, for sure playoff team. So, Dallas would come to mind, San Francisco. That's what he was trying to do with the Ravens, because he spent a lot of years in Arizona, not in the playoff race. So if he still got something left in the tank, people have problems getting to the quarterback. He'll get a shot to play for somebody next year. I don't think the Falcons are a good fit for a veteran like that, because, he might get discouraged with the youth around him and with the fact that they, are not, bona fide contenders as of yet.
Good point.
Let's go social media here for a second here. Vincent Turner asked a question. Lamar Jackson, is he coming to Atlanta?
No, Reverend. The team said they're not going to put in the offer sheet, so I guess a lot of fans are tone deaf.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I'd say this on every program when it comes up about a quarterback of that type of skill set, is that we're now almost 20 years removed, not that close, 15 years removed from the Michael Vick experience, and people still got a hangover for that, man. I mean, that's what's driving this. I mean, that's what has driven, even to some degree, me looking for a quarterback who can run, is because the excitement that was generated by Michael Vick was just unprecedented. Let's go to social media one more time here. That's Todd. He's saying, D-Led, did the Falcons become a better team today, in your opinion?
Yes. They are better. They got a backup quarterback today. They got a linebacker that, I don't know if he's better than Rashad Evans, but the coach likes him, and he's bringing him from New Orleans. And they got their right tackle who could run block today. So they at least held serve. Whether they're better or not, Yesterday they definitely got better by getting Jesse Bates and Daniel Oyamate. Those are the two prizes of this offseason thus far.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really complain. They're clearly trying to, as you mentioned, fill some holes on defense. You got a guy who's an all-pro at the safety position, and hopefully that'll bring some extra panache and some skill sets to a team that was kind of a little shaky back there. And hopefully you got a big guy that can take a little of that steam off of
Grady.
Grady. Let's go back to social media one more time here. Our man Todd says, why is he a backup, D-Led? You that sold on Ritter?
He's a backup because they paid him $10 million. The starting quarterbacks got paid $40 million a year. So he got paid like a backup. So until they tell us otherwise, he's number 2 on the depth chart.
I'll tell you one thing, and this is based on just watching Tyler. Speaking of that, let's give a big shout out because he's a hometown guy. Played for Collins Hill. Yep. Same team that the young man that went to Jackson State. I'm going Travis Hunter went to. So Collins Hill, man, they know how to put him out. And I will tell you, watching him play against the Falcons, watching him play a couple of other teams, the guy can play now. And they didn't just bring him in to be strictly a backup, but they expect him to push Ritter and let Ritter know, look here, man, if you want this spot, you're going to have to earn it. At least that's from what I'm seeing, because Heinicke, he can play.
Yeah, he's a backup, Rev. He's 6 foot, 215, 200, smallish size. That's why he didn't get drafted out of Old Dominion, where he threw for over 1,400 yards. 14,000 yards, and was one of the best players in I still call it 1AA. But he didn't get drafted. He got signed by the Vikings. He went to the Texans. He went to the Patriots. He bounced around. He finally got a chance against the Falcons when he was in Carolina, and made the most of it when Cam Newton's shoulder was hurt. And then Ron Rivera kept him around for 3 years in Washington. And, whenever something didn't go right at the quarterback spot, he was there for him. 12-1 as a starter. But nobody ever wanted to put him in the number 1 driver's seat. It was always because of injury or something that went wrong.
All right, Tree, can you read that from Mr. Turner?
Sure. It says, ask Mr. Ledbetter about Stephen Gilmore going to Dallas today, and will Aaron Rodgers be a Jet?
Great job by the Cowboys and Coach Dan Quinn and getting Stephon Gilmore, one of the top defenders in the league, 5-time All-Pro. They can have him play opposite of Diggs and lock up the receivers that they face in the NFC East. Specifically, they got him for the Eagles. And Aaron Rodgers is supposed to go on Pat McAfee tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's getting kind of ridiculous, his list of demands and so forth. You'd think he won 5 or 6 Super Bowls or something. He won 1. So this is getting out of hand. But the Jets are a party to it and are obliging him and getting them the receivers he wants. Alan Lazard he's good, but he's not 4 years, $44 million good. But anyway, the NFL loves this kind of offseason drama. And you'd think the Jets won 4 or 5 Super Bowls as much as they talk about them on ESPN. But my good friend Kimberly Martin told me, I was like, Kim, why are the Jets? Why are they always talking about the Jets? She's like, well, one of the producers there is a Jets fan. And then you got the little greeny guy. He's a New York guy. And they're force feeding the Jets down our throat like they won another Super Bowl since Joe Namath was here. They've been sorry for years. It's better football stories to talk about.
Like you said, man, that New York market, that's a lot of eyeballs that driving that train. Let's go back to social media again. Todd is saying he thinks that Heinicke could be better than Ritter. I don't know if necessarily better, but he's going to push him. There's no doubt about it. And let's see here. One last thing before we wrap it up here. Tree, do me the honors. What's Todd saying now?
Todd says, my sources are telling me that D-Led is working with Terry as unpaid Falcons GM intern. Laugh out loud.
Hey, well, I did give him my list, and I gave it to my readers too. My list of 10 free agents to go after, and they got a couple of them. They got Oyamade, and they got Jesse Bates. They didn't want to pay that $94 million for Javon Hargrave. I was trying to get the South HBCU guy here. But yeah, that's my
Man,
job,
I'll
is to
try
be
that.
the unpaid intern and provide him and the readers with the right people to sign.
Yeah, we were a little disappointed. Like the rich get richer, man. San Francisco already have one of the dominant defensive lines, and now they
Yeah,
get Hargrave. Man, that's ridiculous. I
yeah,
mean,
that
I
was
don't get it.
crazy. Yeah, I didn't. Hey, they want to have a good defensive line. That's where they're paying their money at. They're gonna get after you on Sundays with that front, and they want to keep it that way.
All right, last question. Ask Mr. Ledbetter about Anthony Richardson of Florida. Where do you think he end up?
He's been listening to my podcast clearly. Big
Yeah.
fan of Mr. Richardson. You just can't teach some of the things he can do. I just want to know if he can learn, how and where to put the ball at on a consistent basis. They taught Jalen how to do that in Philly over these last 3 years. So now I know it can be done. So, can you teach it to Ritter? Or do you, if you go get Richardson, can you teach it to him?
All right, so last thing I'm gonna ask here, all right, a hypothetical. Second round comes around. Richardson's still on the board. You take him?
Oh,
The
yeah, he won't.
Falcons?
Yeah. He's not gonna make it to
He ain't gonna
8.
last. But I'm saying,
Yeah,
but now here's another
he's not gonna make
question.
it to 8.
Let's just say he lasts to 8. Would you do it? First round. Would you take him
Oh
at 8?
yeah, if he lasts to 8, you do it. The big question, Reverend, is do you take Jalen Carter at 8 if he slips?
Right.
The Georgia kid who's had a little bit of trouble.
Little trouble.
You need defensive help, and if you can't help the kid, then don't pick him. But if you think you can help him, because you already know he can help you, you got to take him, I think.
So bottom line, guys, you heard it first here from D-Led. If Carter's available at 8, he off the board the Falcons. But even more interesting, if Anthony Richardson is available at 8, the Falcons should take him off the board. We're gonna leave it right there with that. You know, guys, when we always wrap up our show, we want to make sure that you know how to find out more about our guests. Follow them on social media and the like. So, as we always do it, D. Orlando Ledbetter, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Reverend. You all can find me on Twitter at DOrlandoAJC, and then on our website, ajc.com. We have the Bowtie Chronicles podcast dropping for you tomorrow morning, and on the Instagram at DOrlandoLed. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I thought he
D.
was gonna
Orlando
hit
Ledbetter.
it. He didn't hit it.
All right, Miss Tree Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on social media at Purple Diva 13, as well as Ms. America International 2022.
Short and sweet. There you go. All right, guys.
He disappeared. Oh, there you are.
I got the sticky fingers today. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, guys, you can follow me on social media. Actually, I want you to follow the show too, if you could, please. At Real Talk Sports, the number 7 is how to follow the show. You can follow me at Minister J. Sims. That's how you do it. It's real simple, real easy. If you have a great sports story you think should be on the air, hit me up, jsimmons at realtalksports.net, or simply give me a call or text me, 678-410-9833. All right, guys, we got to go. And you know, as I leave the broadcast, I always say, if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, I'm serious now, please get to know the Lord today. Why? First of all, nobody loves you like Jesus. And number 2, he died for you and rose from the dead so that your sins can be forgiven. And that means 2 great things. Number 1, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number 2, you become an adoptive child of God with all the rights therein. That means you now can go to God like a loving parent, ask him for anything that you need or desire, and he'll give it to you according to his will. And number 2, if and when you die, you go to that wonderful place called heaven, where there's going to be no more pain, no pandemic. You never get old. You never die. You are just wonderfully blessed with a body that never has anything bad happen to it, and it's the most beautiful place ever created. As a matter of fact, you get to see God, Jesus Christ, and all the people that love him face to face, and you avoid that nasty place called hell, where all the things I mentioned in heaven won't be in hell. So it's dark, it's dreary, it stinks, pain everywhere, and most of all, you're cut off from God, from Jesus Christ, the people that love him, and many of the people that love you forever and a day. I don't know about you, but I like option number 1 instead of option number 2. All right, guys, until the next time when we see you again, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your evening. So long.